All right, welcome back. Recorded in front of a no studio audience. It is the second time that we have gotten to meet for Fwoosh First Friday with Super7 honcho Brian Flynn. Brian, welcome back. This is only the second time we're calling it Fwoosh First Friday, but I'm already tempted to change it to the Bad Penny podcast because you just can't get rid of me. I keep turning up.
Yeah, it's the Fwoosh First Friday with Veebs. So we're gonna.
Oh, but we just saw each other at Toy Fair.
I know.
Not even a week ago, we came by planes and trains and boats. Because
I did not get on a boat, but I got on a
it,
plane and a train.
it was close though, needing a boat in some areas of the city during that. So with the weather, the time of year that it's at, it's been a while since the last one. How'd this Toy Fair feel for you? Because it felt different to me. I don't want to say off because I think that has pejorative connotations, but it felt different to me.
I like your use of pejorative. Thank you. Your English teacher in high school would be very proud of you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's the first one back from a long delay, it's not going to be exactly what you remember. Plus, half the time, what you remember isn't always how it was, anyways.
Yeah.
But I think it was fine. It was a lot like Toy Fairs of old, but at the same time, there was definitely a little lighter attended in some respects. But at the same time, a lot of the things that used to happen and the meetings that you needed to coalesce, pull together, usually at Toy Fair, because it forces everybody to be under one roof. And that is true once again. And you see some people there that I don't see at San Diego and New York and stuff like that. So I felt like it was fairly on par. It was 80% of what Toy Fair used to be.
Yeah.
But I think, at the same time, there's been a lot of industry reckoning on whether or not Toy Fair is truly necessary in the last 3.5+ years. So, it had that going against it already.
Well, and
but I felt like it was worth going to, if that makes any sense.
yeah, I mean, when we got to chat with you a couple of times in your booth, and of course walking by, because most of the stuff that we go to Toy Fair for is just kind of in the same, couple of aisles every year. You guys were busy. You guys always had a lot of folks in the booth.
Trying to keep that party atmosphere going.
Yeah.
No. It felt good. We had a lot of people there. We had lined up a lot of meetings. I think we showed off a lot of new stuff that was exciting to people. And I think that I'd like to say that I think that we make a pretty good product, depending on what kind of product you're interested from us, whether that can go from reaction to ultimates to supersize or other items. So, we had plenty to talk about. And so therefore, the wider breadth of product that we make, the more people we have to talk to, theoretically.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. And you were showing off a lot of stuff, and we got to talk directly about a lot of the stuff that was in the cases. But for me, walking in, you were there longer, and it's your booth and whatnot, but it's a little frenetic looking around and seeing all the stuff, and we focused in on some things pretty well. But at the same time, I'm glad I've had a few days to kind of think back and let some stuff marinate, because it's like I thought of stuff that we didn't really get to talk about. So I was hoping we could go through some of that stuff first and then jump into some stuff that we didn't talk about last time. And I've even got some Twitter user submitted questions for you. So that's uncharted territory here.
This is our version of, we think of the witty comeback, a week later. This is, I thought of the question I needed to ask him about
standing in the shower. Oh, that was the perfect question to
exactly.
You think of it then. Okay. Well, the first big one, and this was actually something that I thought of, and somebody on Twitter mentioned too, is that we talked a lot about ThunderCats. The Cat Slayer obviously wasn't there because that would have taken up like half your booth, but that's along in production and whatnot. But somebody asked, when are we going to get to see the box art for that? And do you know who is doing the art for it yet? I thought that was a good one.
That is a good one. I know we picked, I want to say it. The moment I say I think it's Edmiston, it'll be like, no, it's not. Come on. No, it may actually be the guy that did the card backs. I know it's already picked. I know it's already in process. I don't know when it's going to be revealed exactly.
Well,
I know the 2D team is working on it, and
yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's going to be rad. And that was a little while ago, and I don't know exactly. It's either one of those two guys. It's either going to be Edmiston or the guy that did all the artwork for the reaction card backs.
Okay, cool. Because my Thunder Tank has been out of the box since the day I got it, but the box is still over there because I can't.
Still over there looking dapper.
Get rid of, yeah, because of the art. That's a big part of it. Okay, so I thought we'd ask about that, but we'll see when it's time. But it's being worked on now, so there's
it's being worked on now, so it's not finished. So next time we speak, which sometime soon, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's so and so. Yeah,
yeah, that's been done for 3 weeks now.
Exactly. No problem.
Okay, cool. Well, then staying kind of in that same case, you were nice to open up the cases as we were talking and as we were going along. I don't think it really registered with me that you kind of picked up that vac metal Quicksilver Silverhawk and put it right in my hands, and I was like, I'm touching this vac metal figure, almost final figure, for the first time. And I gotta say, I don't know if it was because the previous vac metal Silverhawks that I have are the vintage ones that are made of ABS and they're lighter, and it feels like you have to be careful with them, but he was feeling solid. And the paint on it, I didn't feel like I was being extra careful for it. You've got some pretty clamped down production oversight going with those, and I don't know if we've gotten a chance to talk about it. How are you feeling as far as the final product getting to where it needs to be? Because I just thought it felt solid and the paint felt really good.
It's not that it shouldn't feel solid. It's just that the nature of the paint is, if you throw it around, it's it can crack. That's all. It's like right now, if you take Slythe and you throw him on the ground,
it's gonna break my foot.
Scrape the paint, maybe you won't, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Vac metal, you throw it on the ground, it's not the same thing. And that's the thing, is maybe I've scared everybody that these things are just, if you breathe on them wrong, they're going to break. It's not that. It's just that I have to be very clear that it is not as durable as a traditional painted figure. That is all. But I think in terms of it, it's like, it's for all intent and purposes, it is the same figure body that you got before, so it should be as all solid. I mean, we've modified it all so it works a little, but it's not delicate. It's not, little Frenchman, we must be delicate with you.
Vac metal, not Fabergé.
Exactly.
So much.
Exactly.
But it was fun, and it was great, getting to see that in person. And you made the comment, they're going to be here really before we know it. A relatively quick turnaround time as far as Ultimates go.
Yeah, very quick turn time as far as Ultimates go.
Okay, well, I was excited about the vac metal versions, getting to see them at San Diego, but then getting to see them last week and actually get to hold Quicksilver in my hands. I'm really excited for him. I really like Steelheart's purple. That just sets her apart so much. I think she's looking particularly nice. So it's exciting stuff.
It is. It's really cool. Yeah, the same thing. It's like, I'm trying my best. I know the internet doesn't believe it, but I'm trying my best.
Well, it's going to be one of those things that I think once people get to have them in their hands too, that's going to be, cool. All right. Well then, TMNT, because somebody brought this up, because I think Gorilla was kind of, I mean, the Turtle Van in its near or final form was really awesome to see, but seeing the Gorilla wave, that was kind of the first time we saw them as actual things. And he's huge, he's gigantic. I was really taken with the figure as it exists right now. But I got a couple of people who asked, you know, Gorilla never had a vintage figure. And you have
he is a character. He's a character in some of the comics and some of the other activity books.
Yeah,
but he is not a vintage toy.
Yeah, but you guys did a good job of bringing him in to kind of, you know, the ultimate style, which, you know, is kind of the grown-up version of the vintage style. And, you know, some people have asked about, you know, there are a lot of other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters out there that didn't have that, you know, you're kind of like Gorilla. They didn't have that same treatment, like a couple of the Punk Frogs and things like that. But I think seeing him now, that's really made people think, man, it'd be really cool to have some of these other characters in this style. Is that something that you guys are looking towards? I know there's some changes and shifts and whatnot as far as that goes, but
you know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles landscape is a forever morphing one,
mutating one even.
Very nicely played. You know, this is why we work with professionals, right there. Nice transition.
Yes.
Even the plans that we had a couple months ago have been rejiggered a little bit. I think, you know, there's a lot going on in the world of Turtles, and we're all, you know, in it together, and so it's a little bit reactive. We've got, you know, there's some upcoming waves coming that we've got planned. We've also talked about the 2003 upcoming. The figures that we've got planned are still planned. They just keep doing this.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, which ones are going to release now? Which ones are going to, you know, so there's a bunch of cool other figures we're trying to get to. I'll just keep it that way.
Okay.
There's a lot of other characters that have not been touched. There's a lot of big characters that haven't been touched yet. So there's room, and I hope we get to them all. How about that as a nice platitude? There's a lot of room, and I hope we get to all these fun and wonderful characters.
Yeah, wow, okay, because seeing that van in person, and I don't think I got to do it on camera, but before we started recording, I actually got to hold the turtle van. That's gonna be able to carry around a lot of those figures. So the more the merrier. Just
funny how you scale a van to hold figures.
To take a whole party of mutants in this wagon that you're making. Okay, cool. Okay. Well, another thing I was excited to see was across the booth, and that was seeing wave 3 of the Disney Ultimates carded and looking very close to final, if not final, and Series 4, which is the Nightmare Before Christmas, kind of in, you know, their production state as they are right now. When Series 3 releases or is you know, shipped soon, Series 4 is going to be the only, you know, wave that's out there that hasn't been delivered yet. How's the future looking for Disney Ultimates right now?
You know, we've got a bunch of figures on ice. You know, we're just still sort of sorting out what the future looks like sort of within the entirety of the Disney portfolio. You know, once again, you know, that world is very much in flux as well. This is the, you know, it's always the analogy of the duck, you know, calm on the thing, paddling like crazy underwater. That's the world of licensing, everybody. Just to let you know, the world of licensing looks nice and calm up front, and then underneath you're like, this place is crazy. You know? So, you know, there's a lot of things that we want to do, a lot of things they want us to do. But it's Disney is the most complicated one that we have right now, and trying to figure out how we move forward or not move forward with certain things is you know, I don't know. I'm sure right now my marketing person is just like going like this, going, "You can't say anything like that. Don't say anything. Just say everything's fine." I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know. Not all of those decisions are always up to me.
Sure.
So I don't know what the future of all of that line is. I know we've got a lot of product we'd like to make.
Yeah.
I know we have a lot of stuff in the works.
No.
Whether it comes out or not.
Okay. We'll see. Well, what was there? That big bad wolf was looking. I think that was my favorite one that I saw.
Big Bad Wolf is, because he's a deep cut, but he's one of our favorites as well. I love having Ben Gator. I love that character. I know I may be the only one, but Ben and the Hyacinth hippo now, so you can recreate the dance scene from Fantasia's a wonderful set. And then just getting started on more modern, if you will, with Stitch as the first.
Yeah.
And Stitch as a character has like 739 different looks.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of room. So we'll just see how everything shakes out with Disney right now.
Okay. Fair enough. And I am excited to see what will be next, but we'll just have to see when that is going to happen. Fair enough.
I mean, we showed off the brand new Donkey Pinocchio, so it's not like, it's just like I said, that's a complicated one.
Okay. Fair enough. They all can't be no notes.
And I don't want it to be like it's just them.
Yeah.
We have our versions of stuff that we want to, it's never a single-sided road. So I want to make sure that anybody coming back over this, it's not like, oh, Disney's doing those guys dirty. It's not. It's how the two of us work together. Some ways we work together well, some ways we don't work together well. It's fine. That is a two-sided relationship. Okay.
That is that's important to note, and thank you for that. So then probably the most like rough transition from property to property. I want to go from Disney to Conan, because I totally missed in the back of the booth Conan Ultimate Series 4 and 5 kind of at their current stages of productions. You have tangible pieces that are
we had test shots there. You had King Conan on the throne, you had Valeria, you had Sabatai. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it was
inner Conan wasn't feeling it, huh?
Yeah, we need to have more of them. It was really cool to see. I mean, I love the Conan figures, but it was really cool to see some non-Conan figures in with the Conan figures there. So I'm particularly stoked for Series 5. But it made me wonder. I recently got the Vile Violet Rita Repulsa Power Rangers figure, and man, the likeness and all the printing on the face and everything was looking great. And I think that's such a cool tool for real person likeness. Are the future Conan figures going to be able to take advantage of that? Do you know?
I think they should. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Most everybody has finally started transitioning all their capabilities to being able to do the printed faces.
Cool.
There's still one of our main factories that has not. But most everybody has made the transition over the last few months to having it, So once we have that, we should be doing printed faces most all the time.
Awesome. Well, it's really cool. Subutai especially. I don't know, like his crazy, like almost oversized, costumes and whatnot that he was wearing. I can't wait to start to put that team together because that original Conan movie is so iconic and I love it. But some people reminded me to make sure to ask you about possible future with not only Conan Ultimates in general, but also, other Conan movies like Destroyer and stuff like that. How are those things looking?
We've been, trying to sort out Destroyer for a long time. So the people that own Conan obviously own everything, but the rights associated with every version and iteration become very, very tricky. They are working on Destroyer. Obviously, we showed off a Destroyer sculpt.
The first one.
239 years ago.
Yeah, approximately.
PowerCon, when it was in LA,
Yeah.
I think the first Anaheim PowerCon, we showed that one off.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously there's a whole world in Destroyer that we haven't even touched yet with Wilt and Grace and Dagoth and everything. It's not immediate,
Yeah. Okay.
but it's something we're talking about regularly because we bring it up regularly. Like, how's it going on Destroyer? How's it going on Destroyer? All right. We've got some other stuff we're going to make over here on Barbarian, but hey, what's going on with Destroyer? Can you tell me more about Destroyer? Have you heard about Destroyer? So that's not, we've been waiting.
Yeah.
I got at least one Conan ready to go that of, and maybe more.
Okay, well, that's cool to hear, because I was going to ask about that as well. I mean, okay, so Destroyer is obviously not imminent, as you said, but there are plans for more figures and characters as far as Ultimates go, that you do have access to, right?
Yeah. There's at least right now, like in the works, at least 2 more waves of Conan stuff.
All right. Cool. Your very first Conan figure was the comic Conan figure. I think that one is pretty great. Any thoughts about ever returning to the comic world of Conan the Barbarian? Okay, maybe a little on the nose there.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. That's cool to hear. All right. Well, yeah, needless to say, I'm excited for that Series 5 crew, and of course the throne and whatnot. But getting the other characters is a cool step. The other heroic characters, because he's got lots of guys to fight right now. He doesn't have a lot of backup at the moment. So okay. All right. And another one that I can't believe I missed, because I'm so high on the property as well as the recent Ultimates figures, there was a pretty slick looking glow in the dark Radiation Ranger from Toxic Crusaders, and that I can't believe I didn't ask you about, because he's a really perfect figure to make glow in the dark, and he was looking pretty good. And so
not sure why that was in the case in the end, but if you pay attention, you might see him very soon.
Maybe in the same proximity, maybe in
the same proximity, but radiation, it's a glow in the dark Radiation Ranger. What else you want? Come on,
that's what they do. That's what they do.
He's gonna, boom, here you go.
I got your Toxic Radiation Ranger right here.
Yeah, exactly. What do you want, huh?
All right.
So it makes, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense. Okay. Well, I know maybe the first teaser for maybe such an event you guys kind of let out today. So I would imagine between now being the Friday ahead of another show, and then we'll probably see a lot of stuff being shown.
I would assume that we would have to start talking about anything like that soon,
at some point. Yeah, right. Okay, well, I guess I went on and on about the possibility of the next wave of Toxic Crusaders Ultimates the last time we talked, and I know you said it's coming, just not necessarily quickly, but I'm gonna say, man, and I want them quickly.
Yes. Will you please hurry up and make Major Disaster and Bone it?
Right now.
Exactly.
All right, well,
they would look so sick, dog.
It was cool to see a new one though to add to the collection, because Toxie's got a good history of glow in the dark in most of your formats. So adding a villain that can glow as well is cool. Okay, well then another Ultimates one, because we saw some really cool supersized Sesame Street, and we know that the reaction is going to be coming soon, but I can't believe I forgot to.
They showed up fine. The FedEx that was supposed to show up Friday that didn't show up.
Yeah.
Obviously they don't deliver it. If it's due on Friday, they don't deliver it on Saturday. Showed up Monday morning. So on Monday afternoon, the Sesame Street reaction figures were in the case.
Yeah. Oh, dang.
So get on your internets and look at places that aren't the Fwoosh, and you might see it.
That's what I get for leaving on Monday.
That's what we get for not being more organized.
No, I know that feeling a lot. Well, I'm glad that they showed up, but I can't believe I forgot to tell you, because we made, you know, a talk. We talked about it last time, is that because, and I quote, I needed to have a poll for fucking Ultimates Sesame Streets, and I just want to let you know that out there on the Twitter place where they only let you have a non-scientific poll going for 24 hours, the 98.7% resounding yes to that question. I'm just telling you the results of the poll, because I wrote
the results of the poll are in.
They are in, and it is absolutely yes. So I'm not pushing. I'm just saying that the effing yes to that, in case you're still wondering.
All right, in case I'm still wondering. Like, but how about that Super Grover though? Come on.
Yeah.
We
we talked about it, and it's like Super Grover. I don't care who you are, how much you watch Sesame Street or you didn't, especially if you're kind of a certain age at this point. Everybody remembers Super Grover. Everybody loves Super Grover. So it's a good one to start. He's going to follow Count very closely,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And some fortunate people got to see the first wave of reaction, you know, on Monday, but I missed it. So I'm gonna have to go digging for some pictures, because I love
you'll have to splice them into this edit, or is this live? I don't know.
Yeah, pictures courtesy of so and so. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, I think those were all the things that my meager brain was able to kind of process and think of, that I totally whiffed on when I was like actually with you in person in the booth at Toy Fair. So I kind of wanted to make a jump and talk about some stuff that we didn't talk about last time, and that we didn't, I don't think, saw at Toy Fair, because I had some people ask me about how Simpsons Ultimates are doing in terms of production and future and things like that.
They're moving along well now.
Okay.
Trying to think. I wish I had off the top of my head when they were landing. Like I have exactly, like I was asking about earlier, updates on all turtles. I don't have when they're landing. They're moving through well now. We've got to get it. We've got to get some of those back out into people's hands before we can sort of turn that faucet back on.
Oh, okay. Well, that was kind of the question, because my thought is that have we not seen a new okay, because it looks like you have them shipping in February on the page right now. So I just checked that. But the reason why we haven't seen a pre-order or anything yet is because we're still waiting on stuff to ship, right?
And if it says shipping in February, I think that means shipping to the customer, which means it's leaving the factory in December.
Okay.
So
sometime
in the next 60 days.
Cool. But the future though is that more stuff planned, just not revealed yet, because
planned. Yeah. I got plans.
All right.
I got plans. Right now I got to get these out the door.
Yeah. Okay. Well, cool, because Hank Scorpio is, in my opinion, the greatest one-shot character ever on that show. So I'm very much looking forward to him, and then seeing what might come next after that. So I wanted to make sure I asked about Simpsons. Okay. Kind of in that same vein too. How about Star Trek in terms of progression and future for that?
If you wait to, there's test shots literally sitting, I mean, not test shots, like final box samples sitting over behind that wall.
Right behind.
I can grab real quick if you want to have an exclusive.
Yeah, would love.
We're going to do, this is a magic trick, everybody. Watch.
We're going to
beaming back in.
Damn it, Jim, you're a toy maker, not a special effects guy. So we'll take care of that in post. Ooh.
There's Locutus of Borg.
Very nice. Ooh, I like the black in the packaging on that. It's very nice.
Here is Data.
Right, and it looks like these guys have face printing, it looks like.
I think so, yes.
Cool.
This is also one of those things where I'm like, I need better glasses.
I gotta have it zoomed in to be able to tell, right?
Yeah. Hold on, let me look.
Expand.
exactly.
Ah, yes.
So clearly this is not a final box. Like these things aren't bent and everything else. Like, you know, it's roughed in for pack out to make sure it looks good.
but man, that smiling head and the trombone, that's something else.
Yeah, William T. Ryko.
Yes, cool.
So yes, very close
Very
on
close.
those.
All right. So those are gonna ship, and oh
The slipcase.
yeah. The Starfield is very nice. Like I said, I like the black. I'm used to like Toxic Crusaders and the Worst and Ninja Turtles, where your eyes are like your retinas are gonna like
They're gonna explode.
the right color. So
Yeah.
I kind of like the understated black on that. That looks good. So cool. So
Classy.
those are ready, almost ready to go. Finalizing packaging.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this I think is the first pack out sample where you're more or less proofing most everything, double checking the blisters and stuff, but it's not final production because this isn't scored. Like it
Yeah.
should have a line in there for the bend. So, you know, it's not tape. There's a few other things. So I think this is just for us to make sure everything is in place. And then we'll get us one more sample before it leaves. But that's mostly where it's like, is there anything that you see that's crazy wrong before we really kind of commit to everything?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
commit to all the pack out, commit to the blister, start producing all the plastics, everything else like that.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see that those are on track and imminent. And I take it that there's still a future because
There's still a future for Star Trek. Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was gonna say I think it's kind of like the Simpsons, just got to get the next one out before jumping in to the one.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything. I think that no one doesn't know that Star Trek's not exactly one of those properties that like lots of people come out for. It's a smaller group of people, but they're very excited about it. So, it's just a much more measured approach.
Well, I'm getting those iconic next generation characters because that was really my main, and not only but mostly
it's my main as well. Like that and the 80s movies.
Yeah.
Like the 60s show, I watched some and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying that negatively. Like I'm just saying like, yeah, it's good, but it's like, but like especially I think Wrath of Khan, I must have watched Wrath of Khan 739 times after school. And I'm blanking on the name of the one with V'ger.
Oh,
that's Star Trek 2, I believe, right? Because 3 is Wrath of Khan, or it's 4 Wrath of Khan, and 3 is V'ger.
2's not Wrath of Khan. I'm bad with
because we're not the guy. You want to ask me what his chest muscles look like?
and I'm positive you've got a good Khan yell if you've watched it that
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Ricardo Montalban from Fantasy Island is your villain. Like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Those, and then Next Generation was really my show. Like, I love that show. So that's why we focused mostly here.
But as far as the license itself, do you have the ability to make figures from the movies and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, all right. Well, then I'll just move it right along then and say I just got Megatron in the mail not too long ago. He's finally up on the shelf next to Optimus, as it should be. And there are a couple more waves hanging out there. But how are Transformers Ultimates going in terms of production and timing for future and whatnot? Is this a catching up process too? With
I think there's a lot. I think for everybody well knows there's a lot of catch up doing, and we are catching up really quickly. A couple weeks ago, I saw the final tracks, and it looks bananas.
Cool.
Did we sit down? Did I pull that out and show it to you that one time on one of these videos?
It would have been like way back in the spring, so I don't know if that would have been the case.
Last Friday?
Last time. No.
First Friday?
No.
Let me see if it's right there sitting on the table.
Okay, we'll do fancy editing again.
I got your Transformers right here. Here we go. All right.
Back.
Look at this gigantic Megatron. The foil.
G2, yeah.
Yep. This is
Wow.
G2 Megatron. Hold on. I'm running out of table space here.
The Transformers come in large boxes, so very nice.
There's G2 Megatron.
Cool.
Done. This is definitely final.
Awesome.
Hold on, moving stuff out of the way. All right, Rekgar. Again, the fancy box.
I think he was out at Toy Fair, maybe.
I don't think we had any of these Transformers out. I don't think.
No, I remember Robo saying something about tracks, but I don't know if he was there, if we were talking about, that's the next. Oh, all right, there we go.
Alligator.
Yeah.
Look at how awesome you are, Alligator.
It's like poor Optimus, but awesome Optimus, it's like I don't know how to feel about that.
and this one actually for me is my favorite of the whole bunch. This tracks looks insane. Look at all the dry brushing on like the treads, if you can see all that and everything.
Yeah,
this
you
figure
can.
looks so bad to the bone in person.
Yeah, and I love that alternate portrait that's kind of down there on the left-hand side with the sneer. Yeah. Like that.
But my downlighting is not helping this presentation any, but
that's the curse of showing off toys, it seems like, in any venue.
Those are done, cooked.
Cool. So getting caught up, then we will, not asking exactly when, but we'll be seeing more in this format from Transformers then.
There's Transformers to come.
Cool.
More Transformers to come.
Well, the another, I guess, Hasbro property, and you actually have a pre-order open for these right now with Bulk and Skull and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. How that is doing, because what we just got Series 2, and I think Series 3 is going to be pretty quick afterwards. Is Power Rangers grooving for you at this point, or
doing okay?
Yeah,
I would say it's doing okay. It's not doing great. Not necessarily doing terrible. I mean, it's a catch-22. It's like some characters do okay and some characters don't. Obviously, going backwards, we had to cancel Madam Woe and White Tiger Zord, but we were able to make White Ranger.
Yeah.
Bulk and Skull is something that people have been asking us about the entire time. I've seen them asking every other toy company about it forever.
They've never had figures, right?
They've never had figures, and here they are. But I would say that, sales are just okay, not great. So it's an interesting thing. Like, I can't quite figure out, is that customer just not interested in that kind of format? Where is that just too similar to the old, flip head chrome style ones? And it's like, I want that. I don't want this. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't have a specific answer. Like, generally speaking, the Zords actually outsell the Rangers.
Yeah. Cool robots and monsters, man. It's hard to beat those.
Yeah, but the monsters don't sell very well either. Everybody says, "Oh, why don't you make all the monsters?" And we make the monsters, and then they don't buy them.
Wow.
It's an interesting sort of thing where it's like, it should be one of those where it's a no-brainer. We should just be making Squat and Babu, and we should be making, Lord Zed and Eyeballs and just everything. We should be making all the monsters, and it's just like, don't really need those.
Okay. Would you say that you're at a crossroads at this point with the property and the format yet, or not quite there yet?
I think there's some other things that we're looking at with it where we're just trying to figure it out. I think it's a little early to say that we're at a crossroads. I think more just sort of I hate to call it a reset, but just like, how do we re-engage everyone with what is Power Rangers? And I think quite honestly, a lot of that, when I'm saying, they're not doing as well, as, like, I will say that because I hear it across the entire industry. We were doing pre-orders when no one else was, and everything was fine. Now everyone's doing pre-orders, and I think everyone is feeling an economic pinch a bit more than they have been in years past.
Yeah.
And I think that over the last year, people were just like, I don't do pre-orders anymore. I just can't afford to do pre-orders. And secondly, we've allowed a lot of our partners to order as many as they want.
Mhm.
And so then if you can get it after it comes out for retail from somebody else, then why would you pre-order it?
Mhm.
So I think there's a catch 22 there that we just have to kind of like, okay, let's pull this back in, because if you don't pre-order, we actually then it doesn't sell through, and then those guys don't order as much. And it's sort of like those things can compound, and they
Right.
can compound additively and subtractively. And I think we're seeing it subtractively right now, but I don't think that that's unique to us. I think that's
No,
happening from what I
no.
can hear across the board.
As someone who is, it's my hobby, but then also we do, some manufacturing. It's like you kind of understood in the past that the smaller companies are the ones that, don't have, billions of dollars backing them up. That method is almost required in some cases. But then, as you said, everybody got in on the pre-order thing, and the biggest companies out there. And so yeah, I definitely hear about the fatigue and things like that, and how as you said, pivot, change, or adapt to whatever it is. It's not clear to me what it is that people want, though. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't think that people want or don't want. I mean, we've talked about this before, and now I think everyone talks about it. It wasn't unique to us talking about it in the beginning, although less people talked about it in the beginning. More people talk about it now, in just that there are more toys being made for more licenses in more formats and greater quality than ever. That is not a balloon that can expand infinitely.
Right.
There's a point where that balloon pops.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us, ourselves included, we're trying to be very cautious about, like, hey, if we're seeing that softness, like, let's pull back a little bit. Let's not, like everybody was saying, can you go faster? Can you go faster? Can you go faster? And I think now it's like, hey, can you go a little slower?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's much more where we're at right now, which is, let's slow it down a little bit, take our time. It's not a sprint, this is a marathon, and just kind of see how everything shakes out a little bit. And there may be some things that would be rad as a toy, but there's just not enough people to support it, or it's not the right time, or any number of other things. So I'm not, I don't want to sound like, these things are terrible or bad, but it's just like, I don't think it's a surprise to everybody. It's like, hey, everything's a little slower now, so product is also going to happen a little slower.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in us following through,
Right.
but how often we come to market, because there's only so many times and so much stuff people can buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you find that you are, because for some of these properties, you've been with them for a while, and have gone through several pre-orders. Do you feel like from property to property, you're getting a handle on frequency of like waves as well as wave size with this, or is it still kind of hard to define that?
It's kind of hard to define that. I mean, we had a formula. Everybody knew our formula, which was every 4 months.
Yeah.
4 figures every 4 months, 3 times a year. Do. Part of that is making sure you deliver on time so you can keep the cadence. But the more you add these things in, the more it kind of cycles up. It's, I think, just being cognizant of everything out there and just taking a little bit more time, slowing it down.
Yeah.
Working through a little more methodically. Where everybody's looking for it to be like, the sky is falling. It's like, the sky's not falling. It's just, Rome wasn't built in a day.
And it's cyclical, and things change all the time
Yep. And the moment we finally get into a nice, perfect, even keel here, something else will change and throw the whole thing out the window.
Yeah, of course, because it has to be that way, because why get into a groove of smooth sailing even for 30 seconds, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Huh. Well, we've been talking about a few Hasbro owned properties, and
Yes.
you guys seemingly have a great relationship with them, with G.I. Joe, Transformers, Power Rangers, and other things. Something that I noticed at San Diego Comic-Con, as well as at Toy Fair, is that Hasbro's kind of been talking about some of their other properties that maybe haven't had revivals as much, or constant, evolutions like Transformers and things like that a lot lately. How, does your relationship with them kind of afford you, possible access and ability to, maybe explore some of the, other Hasbro properties that seem to be, popular out there with collectors? I'm sure you've been asked about it a lot of times, but I don't think we've talked about that before.
I don't think we've talked about it. I mean, I get asked a lot about not only a lot of those older Hasbro properties, but about pretty much every old property. It's a constant conversation.
Yeah.
A lot of that really comes back down to what are their internal long range plans? Where did that property come from? Are they, who owns it all? Do they own it all? Does somebody else own part of it? Is it contested? Is it unknown? There's a lot of machinations behind the scenes that can slow some of that stuff down. So we've been talking about a lot of their older stuff for quite some time, but it's kind of just a one step at a time kind of thing. Obviously, we just got in with D&D on Reaction, so like that took, and I'm not exaggerating, that took somewhere between 5 and 6 years.
Wow.
And once again, not as a negative, it takes time.
Takes what it takes.
Time. There's a lot of other agendas at a very large scale, and what's right for us isn't necessarily what's right for them.
Right.
And you can either acquiesce to that fact or not. But we've got a lot of ideas about a lot of stuff that they've got and other people have, and we're constantly trying to work it out. It just takes time. With a lot of those licenses that you don't see, if it was easy and there was a guaranteed market, it would be out there.
Well, your guaranteed market, makes me think to ask you the off the cuff question of what's the smallest or weirdest property that you can think of off the top of your head that has been specifically asked to you? Because I mean, Hasbro and other companies own
I've been asked about it. Anything that you can imagine, I have been asked about. I don't think that there are properties that I didn't even know what they were, and I'd have to go look it up, and I'd be like, all right, so this is a bootleg of a bootleg of a bootleg of this from the 80s. And it's like, yes, I need those. And it's like, all right, okay. I think we've been asked at some point about pretty much everything, from all the things you'd expect, all the obscure things you weren't even sure you remembered, but maybe or maybe not. And then the amount of requests for things that we will simply like, oh yeah, we're not going there. It's like, it would be rad if like, oh, hey, that's a different kind of toy. All right. Like, we're not.
I was going to say there was an obscure bathtub toy called Little Loggers that Kenner owned way back in the day, and I got one at a drugstore. It was a drugstore toy, and I rediscovered them about 10 years ago, and there was an audience for it, but it's like, I'm not asking for that. I love it, but I was just wondering if there was anything more.
That's a really obscure one. I don't think I've heard, because now I'm gonna be like, I gotta go to Safari.
They're just
not Safari.
I can get up this time. Hold on, I'll show you.
They're cute.
Yeah,
they look almost like play school figures.
Yeah, and they came in these rafts that were sponges that would float, and their heads would fill with water, and they all came with a little friend. I was just glad that this wasn't a fever dream from when I was a kid, and that there are other people out there that knew of these things. But I'm like, I wonder if you've ever been asked about anything more obscure or strange as these, because I don't know, it's pretty crazy.
I think you're in the running, that is for sure.
Good.
But think about that. If it's meant to be a bath toy and they sit in the sponges so that they float, like, it's pretty ingenious, quite honestly.
Yeah, and built-in, like, I'm a sucker for built-in sidekicks. So
yeah, functionally and executionally, it makes a lot of sense. Now, conceptually, Yes, I think every 5-year-old boy is going to want to play with a log in the
The,
tub.
the 80s were a magical time of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it'll stick.
Then you never, I mean, come on. Somebody threw strawberry shortcake against the wall and the world went, yes, I'll take that.
Yeah. And
Smurfs.
yeah.
Somebody threw, I mean, granted, Smurfs were big in the 70s in Europe. I know that, but still, like, how did everybody go, you know what? Those little blue dudes are rad.
Yeah. I think they're rad. I think Gargamel's particularly rad, but yeah, definitely. Okay. Okay. Well, I wanted to, just kind of ask about how the, Hasbro possible expansion of things, because people are always asking about that. So I wanted to make sure that I covered it off and, got
Yeah.
little loggers into the conversation.
Yeah. Little loggers is new to me. But
Well, they're
but somebody was very smart with their use of materials, which I appreciate.
Okay.
And I'm sure at this point in the world, it's really hard to find one of those logs of foam in good shape.
I had to pay the money to get them carded to make sure that they were in good shape. One is still elusive, but that seems to the small contingency of people who actually want to go back and find these things. That's the one that seems to elude most people. So yeah, crazy. All right. Well, we ran the gamut today for the most part, but you guys are going to be at New York Comic Con. Are you personally going to be back for
Of course I am.
Yeah, all right.
I'll be there.
You are
So stop by, shake hands, see the stuff, see all the secrets.
jet setting to the East Coast, again so quickly, but you guys are going to be up on the floor above for New York Comic Con, right? You're downstairs for Toy Fair, upstairs for New York Comic Con, and all of the exclusives should probably be revealed this coming week. So some may be by the time
that all of the New York excitement would be revealed. I would think probably Monday.
Awesome. So they may be revealed before this is posted, probably on Monday, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, looking forward to that. Finally, we ended last time with some off-the-cuff chatter about Disney Plus shows. And now that the one that we focused on the most was Ahsoka, and that has ended. We don't have to talk about spoilers, but did you watch the last episode? And how do you feel about the series now that it is the first season, I guess, is completed?
I felt pretty good about it. It feels like it didn't exactly resolve itself too well at the end. The only sort of plot change that happened is like, okay, Thrawn escaped, okay. I feel like there was a few things about the ending, which is like, okay, you've built up this whole storyline this whole time about, I'm blanking on his name, wonderful beard. Galen, about Balin searching for this power greater. And if you think about the world in terms of Jedi and Sith, there's always a counterbalance, and then you have the witches. So what's the counterbalance?
Yeah.
It gets left to like, oh, he finds a statue at the end. It's like, okay, this was a significant part of the storyline over the first 4 episodes. And then you just kind of went, oh yeah, we forgot about that. Same thing with his apprentice. Here she is. I felt like that, and some of how like Ahsoka and them at the end. I felt like what I don't understand for the life of me at this point in Star Wars is, all right, I can get a lightsaber speared through the middle of me, but I can survive if they want me around.
Yeah.
But if a witch gets a slight slice across her midsection, she's dead forever. Okay, so hold on. How does this work again?
Qui-Gon Jinn is screaming from across the void.
Like you've got in Obi-Wan, you've got third sister.
Yeah.
She gets, Darth Vader impales her with a lightsaber, yet she can magically live.
Yeah.
Darth Vader doesn't know how to kill her.
Yeah.
And then same thing with Sabine, but everyone else that gets just basically touched by a lightsaber is instantly dead.
Yeah.
I need an absolute here.
Yeah.
Like this makes no
Oh,
sense.
so you're saying you're a Sith then, because they're the ones that deal in absolutes, sir.
It's
That's what
not that.
I'm
It's just
told.
like, look, either a lightsaber kills you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just yeah, let me know what's going on here. And then I felt like they built up Morgan Elsbeth, and I think she did a really good job of, even with the black eyes, showing her disappointment that she was going to be left behind.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, we killed Morgan Elsbeth and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
where did this great green flaming sword come from? Like,
She
I
was
feel like
so
a
worthy
lot
to
of this
have it.
interesting, yeah, this interesting witch stuff that they've got going on that's really cool, but they're so focused on making sure Thrawn leaves that all this other really great storytelling that's new and exciting and original is interesting to me.
Yeah.
And, the other thing is that they don't talk about the cargo, but at one point, I think she referenced cleaning out the catacombs. I think she called it.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that all of the cargo is a coffin of some sort to bring these witches back to life on Dathomir.
More zombie troopers or
Something like the zombie trooper thing was pretty interesting and cool. I felt like maybe because I sort of know it, that the and I can't remember, it's Kitsugi or whatever, where they take something broken and they fill it with gold to fix it again, plus the wrapping, all that Japanese historical stuff. It's like you could have that a little bit here and there, but it's so like, turn it up to 12 and put it on everybody. I'm like, all right, we don't need quite that much. But as a whole, it's interesting. It's just like it didn't feel like it ended on a climax for me, or a cliffhanger. It's just sort of like we just stopped mid-story.
Yeah, I saw the comparisons to Empire, and I was like, Empire's cliffhanger is like, because I didn't mind the final episode, but to your point, the whole Balin skull thing, that was the thing that I was like, it almost felt tacked on to get him on in the last 2 minutes.
And
After
then what are you going to do with him now that he's dead?
exactly.
Because he was really, quite honestly, the character selection in it was good, because like he was really interesting.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
apprentice was really interesting.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, I think, was actually very interesting. Sabine, a little less so.
Mm.
But even Morgan Elsbeth became much more interesting, and how they did
Ezra.
yeah, Ezra's all right, I thought. But even the way they brought I blank on names all the time, it's Blue
Anakin.
Blueface.
Thrawn.
Thrawn. Just the understated nature and the steadiness that which he spoke with was really interesting. Like they did a good job of setting them all up, but they spent so much time on character developing each one of them that they can't pay off all 8 character arcs.
Yeah, I kind of stepped away hoping that, however many episodes of this show that they're going to do or plan or whatnot, that the full tapestry of it will be satisfying once that happens. But as we're sitting right now, you're right, it ended, but it didn't really cliffhanger end it. It's like
it just sort of paused.
Yeah.
It sort of paused, and I think that the thing, at least for me, is like, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep watching it, of course. Ahsoka but the most interesting storyline in here, quite honestly, to me, the whole time has been Balin.
Yep, same.
And it just kind of got left out.
Yeah, the last few episodes were like cool, but I was like, where's Balin? Where's I keep saying, So yeah, I'm with you, but Star Wars, I'm like switched over to Andor mode. It's like that's going to be horrible waiting for that next. But did you start Loki?
I did. Started. I think it's the same thing. Like the set designer on Loki, somebody needs to just give them a large medal and say, "You win."
Yes.
The game of life, you have won.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want now. You win. Like all of that stuff was phenomenal. beautiful. As far as storyline goes, it's still a little convoluted, and it's supposed to be. You're getting a sense of like, okay, that this thing is multiplying, and you see this idea of like, oh, that time is really doing this, and no, this person's pulling it into one, where they go down to the loom and everything. But as a whole, it's like, okay, this is super interesting. Like, I've never seen anything like this before, and the sets and the costumes and everything is just absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Well, we'll be probably about the midpoint or maybe a little bit past that the next time we're scheduled to talk. So maybe those threads will start to come together a little bit more.
The funny part is we finished it, and I was like, I think they're totally setting this all up, because Miss Minutes, they said, made the loom. Is that actually the big bad guy is Miss Minutes, not Kang? And I said that out loud, and my youngest daughter, who is 12, was like, "You're just now getting this." I was like, yeah, I'm excited about that. Yeah, and then Andor and some other stuff. I mean, all in all, we're critiquing. I want to be very clear that we're critiquing based on our own personal biases, and we're not complaining.
Yeah,
we're still happy to watch these shows.
Yep, I agree, because
and my personal bias will be different than the next person's personal bias, but in the end, I am enjoying it, and it's I know where I'm going to be I was going to be every Tuesday, and I know where I'm going to be every Thursday.
Wow. And Ahsoka taught me I need to go back and brush up on my Rebels and my Clone Wars, which I thought I was pretty good on, but it's like
I gotta go back.
I was like, I got to catch up because it's been a minute.
Yeah. That animation style I just could never get past, but I've got to learn to do it. I had to drop out of Bad Batch for the same reason. I just that, and it just kind of crawled.
Yeah, Bad Batch crawled a lot in the middle of the second season, I think, but then the last few episodes really picked up for me. So I mean, I'm excited for that, but I get the animation style for sure. If you're not into it, it's hard, because it's like everything looks like it's made of stone or something with it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, well, cool. Everybody was like, why did I sit through 20 minutes of that?
Yeah, well, just to remind people that the bodega is going in the month of October. So there's some cool stuff with that, which will be going on until we meet again. You're going to New York Comic Con, lots of stuff happening. So without a doubt, there will be more to talk about in November, which guess next time we will meet. So as always, Brian, thanks so much for joining for the conversation. It's always appreciated.
Thank you very much for having me on Fwoosh Friday. First Fwoosh Friday with Veebs.
The Bad Penny podcast, which will drop by the next time this here. So, okay, cool. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we will catch you next time.